Welcome back to the deep dive. We're diving into sources you send us, trying to, pull out the key stuff.
Make sense of it all efficiently.
Exactly. And today, today's source is something else. It's a YouTube video transcript.
From Super Analysis. I saw that one. It's called ANORA, La Historia Completa del Matrimonio Express al Brutal Final.
That's the one. It tackles the story of Anani, or ANORA, she's an erotic dancer, and Ivan Vanya, a young Russian guy.
Right. The video tracks them from, the moment they meet all the way to this, brutal final, as the title says.
And Ivan's perspective, initially it's framed as almost love at first sight, right? Or maybe just shock.
Yeah, shock from a very sheltered life, perhaps. Ani, on the other hand, her attraction seems pretty clearly linked to his wallet.
The video is pretty blunt about that, isn't it? About her job. It makes a point of distinguishing between dancing and, more direct transactions.
A necessary distinction, I think. It sets up the dynamic.
Definitely, because then we see Ivan just, living it up. Parties, drugs, the whole rich kid cliche.
While Annie's in this totally different world where intimacy is fundamentally a business deal.
The contrast is stark. And then comes the Vegas twist.
Oh, the proposal.
Ivan decides marriage is the next logical step. In Vegas. But not for love. He needs her citizenship. For the green card.
Which is, wow. Usually that narrative runs the other way, right?
Totally. It flips the whole thing. The video creator even jokes it might have worked better as a dark comedy with moments of just bleakness.
A very dark comedy.
Yeah.
Because the moment Dad finds out back home, things escalate fast.
Yeah. Ivan's father is not pleased. He sends people.
Yeah.
Led by this guy called Toros.
Right. And the video portrays this reaction as almost operatic. Like something out of a telenovela about, mafiosos.
Total meltdown, shouting, probably dramatics. It's chaos. The marriage is clearly seen as this huge family disaster.
A clash of worlds, maybe?
Yeah.
A threat to their image, their control.
Could be. And right in the middle of this, you have Ani.
Ah, yes, Ani.
And the video has this really sarcastic take, calling it the powerful Mr. Money's love express fueling her. She decides to dig in her heels.
She fights for this sham marriage. Seriously.
Apparently. This woman, used to transactions, suddenly becomes the defender of the sacred vows taken in a Vegas chapel.
There's a weird tragicomic thing there, isn't there? The video points out how she somehow manages to outplay these guys.
David versus Goliath. But David's got street smarts and maybe zero illusions. It's grimly funny.
A resilience may be born from just having to survive. So eventually they try a different tactic.
The practical approach.
Yeah. $10,000. Sign the annulment papers, forget Ivan, walk away, clean slate.
Seems simple enough. But Ani, she doesn't just take the money, does she?
Nope. The video shifts here, becomes almost like a documentary. She goes looking for him.
For Ivan, where is he in all this?
Exactly where you'd expect. Back in another club, getting a dance, completely oblivious to the storm his Vegas trip caused. Peak immaturity.
Wow. Just wow. So she finds him.
Finds him, confronts him. He's clearly very intoxicated, not really present.
And she still insists they stay married, even seeing him like that.
She does. There's this sarcastic line the video highlights about her liking men with Adoros Toros bullhorns, like a dark joke about the mess she's in.
But the reality starts to bite, right? Annulling a Vegas marriage isn't always simple, especially with family involved.
Especially this family. Because then Mom steps in. Kalina.
Oh, the matriarch.
The video paints her as this really powerful figure, almost like, the godmother or something. Very controlled, very determined.
Her goal is simple. Annulment, get Ivan back to Russia. End of story.
And it just hammers home the power imbalance, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Ani has this piece of paper, this wife status, but she's up against serious wealth and influence that just despises her.
Can anything real even survive that?
That's the question, isn't it? What's driving Ani at this point? Is it some twisted affection or just clinging to this potential escape route she stumbled into?
The video suggests the penny drops eventually.
Right. When Ivan, finally sober enough to speak coherently, just tells her flat out they're getting divorced.
And then Kalina weighs in.
With a threat. Delivered politely, but it's definitely a threat. And that's when, according to the analysis, Ani gets it. The whole picture.
What a wake-up call.
Then there's the flight back, which sounds just excruciatingly awkward.
Ani gets a front row seat to Ivan's whole personality, basically.
His complete self-absorption, his entitlement. The video mentions this exchange where he's just like, we're getting divorced, right? You're an idiot.
Charming.
Just
zero empathy.
None. It's brutal. It shows the real cost of these shallow encounters, the emotional wreckage.
So the annulment happens, and then there's Igor.
Igor, the cleanup guy, sort of.
Yeah.
Tasked with taking Ani home, giving her the 10 grand.
Must have been a fun car ride.
The video says Ani was, let's say, less than receptive to his attempts at conversation. Very fiery, very bitter.
Can you blame her? After everything, small talk probably wasn't high on her list.
Not really, no.
Yeah.
But then we get to the final scene, the one the video calls Oscar-nominated.
Okay, so the tone shifts.
Big time.
Yeah.
All the sarcasm kind of drains away, and it becomes devastating. There's this weird tension between Ani and Igor.
Tension? How?
Unspoken. Awkward.
Yeah.
Then, as they're saying goodbye, he does something unexpected.
What?
He gives her back the engagement ring, the one from Vegas, which he'd apparently taken or recovered somehow.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's something.
Yeah. And the video suggests Ani feels this really complex mix towards him, like hate, resentment, but maybe also gratitude for this tiny bit of decency.
In the middle of all that mess?
Exactly. And then, well, the scene gets even stranger. He carries her bags, a simple human thing.
Okay.
And then the video implies they have sex in his grandmother's car during a snowstorm.
Wait, what? Seriously?
That's the implication. It's jarring. And the very final shot described as Ani just crying in his arms.
Oh, man.
And the video's take is that this is her rock-bottom realization, that in this whole saga with Ivan, the money, the chaos, she found absolutely zero genuine affection. No refuge. Not from them, not even inside herself.
It's incredibly bleak, a huge contrast to the whole passionate romance idea, even a doomed one.
Precisely.
Oh.
The analysis concludes that this final, weirdly intimate moment just highlights how empty the whole thing with Ivan was from the start. It's a harsh look at what happens when relationships lack basic respect, basic honesty.
A tough conclusion. So that's our journey through this YouTube analysis. Quite the ride.
Definitely leaves you thinking.
It does. You know, it makes you wonder, in a world where everything feels transactional sometimes and money creates these illusions, where does real connection actually happen? Can you find something authentic even in the middle of, well, exploitation and chaos, like that final scene suggests? Maybe? Or is that just another illusion?
A very sobering question to end on. What do we cling to when everything else feels fake?
Yeah, something to chew on.